Thank you.
Second, for your signature, we have a presidential memorandum titled Immediate Assessment of Aviation Safety. In light of the damage done to aviation safety by the Biden administration's DEI and woke policies, what this presidential memorandum orders is for your Secretary of Transportation and FAA administrator, in this case acting FAA administrator, to basically ensure that we are actively undoing all of that damage, that we are assessing how much damage was done, and that we're ensuring that people hired within the FAA, in keeping with your memorandum of January 21st, are only the most outstanding, capable people for the jobs that they're being hired into.
In other words, competence.
Yes, sir. Elevating competence over everything else instead of the DEI policies that were pursued by the Biden administration.
I think everyone understands that. And Obama.
Yes.
Both of them. Okay, but Biden much worse. Not even a contest. What they've done is just crazy in so many other ways. Okay?
Mr. President, to be clear, are you saying race or gender played a role in this tragedy?
It may have. I don't know. Incompetence might have played a role. We'll let you know that. But we want the most competent people. We don't care what race they are. We want the most competent people, especially in those positions. And, you're talking about extremely complex things. And if they don't have a great brain, a great power of the brain, they're not going to be very good at what they do, and bad things will happen.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. I apologize for no videos yesterday. I was incredibly busy, stuck at a place for 14 plus hours, so I could not do anything, and I am late to this, but hopefully I can get this done. I'm going to have 2 videos today. I'm not going to be able to get anything else done. But I would like to do a report on this because this is one of the more tragedy stories that's happening right now, and I think we should go about it, talk about it, and kind of explain what's going on. Now, there's a few things that we're going to have to go over. So right now we have MSNBC that are pretty much just saying that this is Trump's fault, that is his staff and his confirmation people that he has, that it's their fault and why they're not adequate enough for the job, blaming him for this, even though he's only been in office for 5 days and there's nothing that they could have actually done within that time span. It's like, these people are so much of an idiot that I don't know what else to tell you. And, this is what they have to say.
Brings into focus why these confirmation hearings are important in the first place. One of the common threads between all of these nominees has been the question, the correct one. Are they qualified to serve in these highest positions in government? You have more of these confirmation hearings happening today. Jerry Moran happens to sit on the Intel Committee, among others. He's one of the senators who we played from Kansas, who talked about the fact that he lobbied for this exact flight from Wichita to D.C. It again speaks to the way that members of Congress and others in Washington use DCA because it's so close and because it's so convenient. But it again brings into sharp focus that it's not partisan to question experience. In moments like this, it also underscores how important a transition is. There are all of these mechanisms in place to make sure that the incoming administration has all of the information that they need to hit the ground running. And this is an exact example of why you would want to know all of that information so that on day one, if you are the transportation secretary, as Sean Duffy is, you can come in and have a little bit of expertise about an otherwise unfamiliar place that you are walking into. And I think it's really important for us to keep that in mind, that as we go through these confirmation hearings, these are the exact moments that you want to have confidence in the individuals who are there and trust in the information that those individuals are able to bring you.
Well, that is a question, Willie, time and time again with all of these nominees, their competence, whether they have the experience to run agencies, because when these things happen, of course, as Ali said, you have to be ready.
Yeah, so you can see that that MSNBC is really doing a good job of lying and saying that this is what's going on. And of course, we have this here as well, where we have the CNN pundit deletes post blaming Trump for DC airplane helicopter crash and quickly apologizes, I effed up. So yeah, this is what's going on here. And CNN had to delete a lot of this stuff that was going on because what this is. And he says, this is 8 days ago, from Bakari Sellers, Trump's dangerous freeze of air traffic control hiring. And that's what he said. This is what he said a day when this actually happened, and he had to delete this post. So I don't know about you guys, but it seems like CNN is really just trying to make things worse and what have you, and we're not having it, right? We're not going to be having it. And Trump had a response to this whole situation and what was been going on. What could have possibly caused this? The things that may have caused it, and the liberal woke media really cried about it. They're crying in their bootstraps about the whole situation because, you know, the truth hurts, and they just gotta spin a narrative like gotta hate Trump because, you know, they just can't stop for whatever reason.
The FAA website shows that the agency's guidance on diversity hiring were last updated on March 23rd of 22. They wanted to make it even more so. And then I came in, and I assume maybe this is the reason. The FAA, which is overseen by Secretary Pete Buttigieg, a real winner. That guy's a real winner. Do you know how badly everything's run since he's run this Department of Transportation? He's a disaster. He was a disaster as a mayor. He ran his city into the ground, and he's a disaster now. He's just got a good line of bullshit. The Department of Transportation, his government agency charged with regulating civil aviation. Well, he runs it, 45,000 people, and he's run it right into the ground with his diversity. So I had to say that it's terrible. Then it's a group within the FAA, another story, determined that the workforce was too white, that they had concerted efforts to get the administration to change that and to change it immediately. This was in the Obama administration just prior to my getting there. And we took care of African Americans, Hispanic Americans. We took care of everybody at levels that nobody's ever seen before. It's one of the reasons I won. But they actually came out with a directive, too white. And we want the people that are competent. But now we mourn and we pray, and would like to ask all Americans to join me in a moment of silence as we ask God to watch over those who have lost their lives and bring comfort to the loved ones. And I just want to say God bless everyone in this room. This has been a terrible, very short period of time. We'll get to the bottom of it.
On DEI and the claims that you've made, are you saying this crash was somehow caused and the result of diversity hiring? And what evidence have you seen to support these claims?
It just could have been. We have a high standard. We've had a much higher standard than anybody else. And there are things where you have to go by brain power. You have to go by psychological quality. And psychological quality is a very important element of it. These are various very powerful tests that we put to use, and they were terminated by Biden. And Biden went by a standard that's the exact opposite. So we don't know, but we do know that you had two planes at the same level. You had a helicopter and a plane. That shouldn't have happened. And we'll see. We're going to look into that, and we're going to see. But certainly for an air traffic controller, we want the brightest, the smartest, the sharpest. We want somebody that's psychologically superior.
Pete, bottom line, are DEI policies at the FAA to blame?
I put my head in my hands, Pam, when the president said that. This is something that has been pushed by the far right for a few months now, that DEI policies are to blame in a degradation of safety in aviation in the United States. But frankly, the president is getting out ahead of his skis here. What he has said is not only unprofessional, unpresidential, inconsiderate of the status of this investigation, but frankly, it is just unhinged. That he could even say with any sort of certainty that diversity, equity, and inclusion policies had any part to play in this accident. Remember that 67 people are dead. I hate to get so upset here, but this is something that investigators will really need to pick apart piece by piece, and that is going to take some really significant time. We're not even 24 hours after this crash. We're barely even 12 hours after this crash. And he is saying with a lot of certainty that the blame is on DEI, and the blame is in some ways on air traffic control and air traffic controller hiring. I have to feel for the air traffic controllers in the tower at Reagan National Airport who had to essentially sit there helplessly and make the call to first responders to say we have a serious aircraft crash at 8:48 last night. Let's parse out some more of this because it's really significant here that President Trump also put some of the blame on Democrats. He said that Transportation Secretary, now former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, engaged in BS. He actually used the full word live on television. The fact of the matter is that Transportation Secretary Buttigieg was very hard on aviation safety. There was a day-long safety stand down because of the rise of near collisions on the runways at commercial airports nationwide that really took off in 2023. I did a sit-down interview with Buttigieg. He was well-versed on the topic. He knew the points. He knew where the blind spots were, and the FAA and the Department of Transportation from the top down of the Biden administration was taking that problem very seriously.
Now, these people are actual idiots. And I'm going to show you proof right now that it was because of DEI and it has nothing to do with, the other things here. So what we have here is this right here, where it shows that the staff was actually, that the tower staff was actually understaffed. Now, I'll show you a little bit here of kind of what I'm talking about. So see this, you seeing this as a picture, right? Well, the reason why I have it just as a picture is because for a few reasons here. If you go here, right, the DC plane crash live updates, we're reporting understaffed. Well, it's the same thing. It's just they changed the actual name of the article, and it's a lot easier for me to show you the actual what it was and what it is now. So now that that's clear, yes, they were reportedly understaffed, and it is not good, right? It's not good. Now, there is something even worse with this, right? Where Elon Musk has posted this. It says, under the Biden administration, the FAA and the other government agencies had absolutely insane hiring practices that endangered the public. The president and his team are working rapidly to restore competent personnel to all positions involving safety. The New York Post has said FAA's diversity push includes focus on hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities. It says targeted disabilities are those disabilities that the federal government, as a matter of policy, have identified for special emphasis and recruitment and hiring, the FAA's website states. They include hearing, vision, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disability, and psychiatric disability, and dwarfism. So they're doing this, right? They're trying to push for these type of things into the FAA, and you're going to tell me this is not DEI or not a woke problem at all? You're not going to tell me this is not the cause of it? What we also have is here too from the People's Magazine, and what we have says pilots are warned of dangerous increase in near misses at U.S. airports before American Airlines crash. So again, what are we doing here exactly? Because it goes to show that a lot of these things that are happening is just complete insanity. Again, we have this here. What is going on here? No thanks. So, of course, it's the FAA's hiring scandal, which is under an actual legitimate lawsuit. They're in a legitimate lawsuit. It says, flashback, FAA turned away qualified air traffic controllers based solely on race, a.k.a. white people. The disturbing rise in near misses at our nation's airports and is no accident. A class action lawsuit by the Mountain States Legal Foundation has amassed a trove of documents shedding new light on an Obama-era Federal Aviation Administration initiative that rejected prospective air traffic controllers based solely on their race. A 2013 FAA document controller hiring by the numbers raised the issue in stark terms, asking how much of a change in job performance is susceptible to achieve white diversity goals. When failure is measured in human blood, the answer should have been none. At the beginning of the year, 5 people died at Tokyo's Haneda Airport after a jumbo jet carrying on 379 travelers crashed into a smaller Coast Guard plane that had mistakenly entered the runway. It's the job of air traffic controllers to keep this from happening. There has been a fatal airline crash in the United States since 2009, but it's only a matter of time before the streak ends. I agree. But the problem is the streak was ended not due to accidents or whatever, but mostly due to the fact that the FAA has done this type of work right? Where they focus on hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities and turning away people that happen to be, of a certain color. Odd. And it goes on to say here that the FAA recorded 2 serious near misses runway incursions at Reagan National and Baltimore Washington International last year. And it also happened there was another near miss the day before this accident actually happened. Vigilance is waning because the nation's air traffic control towers are woefully understaffed. The people responsible for keeping planes from smashing into one another are tired after working long mandatory overtime shifts to make up for the lack of controllers. Contributing to the shortage, the FAA temporarily put the brakes on hiring in 2012 so it could replace race-blind hiring rules with biographical assessment strategy designed to hire more minorities. This quiz served as further screening of applicants who had already graduated from a 200-hour training program and achieved high scores on SAT, a grueling 8-hour cognitive test that measures each of the specific skills needed to do the job properly. The questionnaire sought irrelevant information such as the college subject in which I received my lowest grade. Those answering history, political science received 15 points. Playing 4 or more sports in high school was worth 5 points. By contrast, holding a pilot's license, a major advantage for a controller, was worth only 2 points. So, they're obviously saying, okay, all these political things, history, stuff like that, and what sport you're in is worth way more points than apparently having a pilot's license. That's insanity here. And having a valuable experience as an air traffic controller in the military was worth no points at all. Andrew Brigida became lead plaintiff in the lawsuit after his application was turned down despite his achieving a perfect 100% score on the SAT. Mr. Brigida's attorneys claimed there was a method to the madness. Race-hustling activist groups conspired with FAA officials to create the quiz so they could let their members in on a secret. Anyone could pass the biographical assessment by answering A to all but one of the questions. More than 3,000 top-performing motivated applicants lost out because they weren't members of this ethnic club. After Congress forced the FAA to drop the quiz in 2018, many former applicants reapplied and since became controllers. Their careers were set back several years for no good reason. A trial set for summer 2025 will determine the truth of allegations already found plausible by the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia. So what we have here is people discriminating against them against being white. So there we go. And then they're not even giving points to the things that matter, such as having a pilot's license or having a military knowledge and stuff like that. Instead, it's been switched. So instead of having a pilot's license that should be worth, possibly 15 points, and, maybe being part of the military worth like 5 points, it switched to the history and political sciences received 15 points, and for some reason sports is worth 5 points, where having a pilot license is worth 2. This is insanity here, guys. This is complete insanity. And this is the reason why I say DEI had a play in this. DEI killed people. This is what we've been saying for the longest time, to where DEI was going to eventually catch up. DEI was eventually going to kill people, and it has. And it's showing. And Trump is right. And when you have CNN pundits, these morons saying, oh, it's Trump's fault, and it's not DEI, and saying it's like, well, guess what? The actual FAA is being sued for this exact problem for DEI, for race discrimination, which is what DEI is all about, and obviously hiring people of intellectual capabilities. So I don't know what the hell to tell people. This is the reality that we're in. The people die because of this, and this is not a lie. And you're gonna have people like Asmongold as well saying, "Oh well, this is not part of the problem. It's not because of DEI." Take a look.
And I would blame Trump for politicizing it and blaming DEI and Pete Buttigieg, but that's about it. I think that Trump shouldn't have said that. I think it was stupid. I think it was stupid and unnecessary. All it does is it politicizes an issue that really, a lot of people died from this. Is DEI and air traffic control bad? Yeah, I think it is. I think it's bad anywhere. So it's not even that he's wrong, and that's the worst part about it.
He's saying it's stupid, but the fact of the matter is, it's just the reality of it. It is the truth. That is what it means. It's like you cannot go and look at this stuff, go saying that the FAA turned away qualified air traffic controllers based solely on race, and then go look on what these people have been saying here. Like, a good example. Why the hell does it matter what skin color or gender identity our air traffic controllers are? Like, look at this.
Hi, I'm Brad Mims, Deputy Administrator at the Federal Aviation Administration. We are looking for the best and brightest to join us as air traffic controllers. We need a diverse group of air traffic controllers to bring distinct perspectives to handle the ever-changing aerospace landscape. I'm calling on students and alumni from HBCUs, Hispanic serving institutions, and tribal colleges to apply now to become air traffic controllers. I don't want anyone interested to miss out on this amazing career opportunity. Make sure you complete your full application during our application window. The short application window ends on May 8th. We need a diverse, next-generation air traffic workforce with people from all backgrounds. So apply now.
Yeah, so again, when you're saying that this is not DEI, Asmongold, when you're saying it's not because of that, you're flat out lying, and Trump is just being correct. He's correct that this is also due to DEI. This is correct on what's been going on here. If you have FAA turn away qualified traffic controllers based solely on race, which is what's happening here, you have this guy outright saying he needs diverse groups of people. And then you had Tucker Carlson also saying this about a year or two ago. And if you have these things here, FAA's diversity push includes focus on hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities. All of it's screaming DEI, Asmund. Everything is screaming DEI, and you're saying it's stupid for Trump to say that, stupid to make it political when it's reality. You don't just not say things when it's the truth. That's just stupid. You need to hold these people accountable. That is the reality. If you're going to post a video with actual facts and look at the information that's a hold of you. You are not looking at everything at. I'm just showing everybody right now, right in your face, of all the information that's been going on in the past year, what we see, what the FAA has been pushing. They're actually under a massive lawsuit right now because of this. And they showed exactly what the discrimination was, and Asmongold has the audacity to say, "Oh, it's not because of DEI," even though this video is clearly this guy stating it's because of DEI. It's clearly stating that the FAA is being sued for actual discrimination. Like, what are we talking about here? So yes, DEI is alive and well. DEI got people killed, and I think it's a good time to eradicate this immediately so people don't die. All right, guys, that's it for the video. Let's guys share. As always, take care, my friends.
I'm disgusted by what I see in public. Even people closest to us can't be trusted. This is algorithmic disease, the social media.